Are the seas being salty really surprising? At first glance, yes, because rainwater is fresh, rivers are fresh, and most lakes are also fresh. So even though the same rainwaters feed the seas, why do the seas remain salty? For the human mind, this question is more than just a curiosity. It is a gateway to the deep geological and chemical secrets of our planet. Where does the salt come from? Salt in the seas does not fall from the sky. Its main source is rocks and minerals on Earth. Rainwater is slightly acidic due to its carbon dioxide content. This acidic property slowly erodes rocks, dissolves minerals, and carries them to the seas via rivers. Most of these dissolved minerals are sodium and chloride ions, the components of the table salt we know. Why don't fresh waters become salty while seas do? Rivers constantly carry minerals, but since they are always flowing, this salt does not accumulate. Lakes are renewed by floods or currents. However, seas are different. Water exits the seas only by evaporation. When water evaporates, only pure water molecules go into the air, leaving salt and minerals behind. This causes the salinity of the seas to increase with each passing million years. If salt is carried to the seas every year, why don't the seas turn into pure salt deserts? The answer lies in nature's own balance. Sea creatures use minerals like calcium and carbonate to build their shells and skeletons. Some of it sinks to the ocean floor. Thus, the salt balance is maintained. On average, seawater salinity is stabilized at around 3.5%. This rate has been preserved for billions of years thanks to Earth's geological and biological balance. Not only surface minerals contribute to sea salinity. Hydrothermal vents and volcanic activity on the ocean floor release dissolved minerals into the water. This process leads to the constant renewal of ions such as sodium and chloride. In a sense, the seafloor works like a giant mineral factory. What if there were no seas? Salt is not just a detail that changes the taste of water. Salty seas have played a crucial role in the evolution of life. The first living cells developed and diversified in these mineral-rich environments. If the seas were fresh, perhaps the chemical foundations of life as we know it would never have formed. From this perspective, the salinity of seawater is not just a natural event, but also one of the most important elements in the origins of life. Are all seas equally salty? No. The level of salinity varies according to climate and geography. In hot regions like the Red Sea, salinity is high due to intense evaporation. In cold regions like the Baltic Sea, where there is a lot of fresh water inflow, salinity is lower. These differences affect many ecological processes, from the distribution of sea creatures to ocean currents. Is sea salt only sodium chloride? No, there are dozens of different minerals in seawater. Sodium chloride is the dominant one, but minerals such as magnesium, calcium, potassium, and sulfate are also present in significant amounts. This mineral diversity makes seawater not only salty, but also rich in minerals essential for life. What if the seas turned fresh? Suppose, miraculously, the salt in the seas disappeared. In such a case, ecosystems would collapse, because many marine organisms have evolved to live in salty environments. Most of these species, which are not adapted to fresh water, would perish. Ocean currents and climate order would also be seriously disrupted. Thus, the salinity of the seas is not only a biological necessity, but also a climatic one. Can humanity use the salt in seawater? Actually, humans have been producing salt from seawater for thousands of years. In evaporation ponds, the water is drawn off and salt remains, but the massive reserves of salt in the oceans have not been fully tapped yet. Extracting salt on such a large scale would cause both economic and environmental problems. Why doesn't seawater turn into fresh water? The answer to this question actually summarizes why salinity continues. Evaporation takes only water, leaving the salt behind. Rivers continually supply new salt. The seafloor adds minerals. Organisms and sedimentation only maintain the balance. Therefore, seas cannot become fresh. They will always remain salty in nature's memory. Could the seas become saltier in the future? Global climate change brings this question to mind. If evaporation increases in some regions, salinity in those seas may rise. However, as melting glaciers flow into the seas, salinity in some areas may decrease. So even if global salinity stays the same, regional differences will increase. This can dramatically impact ecosystems and marine life. What does sea salt mean in cultures and languages? Interestingly, in many cultures, salt has been considered sacred. In ancient times, salt symbolized purity, protection, and loyalty. Roman soldiers were paid a part of their salary in salarium, salt money. This is the root of the word salary we use today. This cultural background shows that sea salt is not only a nutrient for humanity, but also a measure of value. How would humanity be affected without sea salt? The human body needs sodium and chloride for vital functions. If we could not obtain salt from the seas, it would be much harder to find these minerals. Humanity might not have been able to maintain today's dietary habits or even the development of civilizations as we know them. Salt has shaped the rise and fall of empires and wars throughout history. The salinity of the seas has been a factor guiding human history in this sense. What does the salinity of the seas remind us of? The salty taste of the seas is actually a reflection of Earth's billions of years of geological memory. Every wave, every drop, is a reminder of the minerals carried from the past to today. In a sense, the salt of the seas is an epic written in the memory of the planet. The truth behind salt. The question of why the seas are salty is much more than simple curiosity. This question connects us to geology, biology, chemistry, history, and culture. The salinity of seawater has played a role not only in natural events, but also in shaping life, history, and humanity. And here's the striking truth. The salt of the seas is actually the heartbeat of Earth. The minerals carried by rivers, the elements provided by volcanoes, the waters evaporated by the sun. They all come together, and the story of the planet remains hidden in the taste of salt. The seas are salty because Earth's memories are hidden in the salt. If you learned why the seas are salty, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. Do you think it's surprising that the seas are salty? Share your thoughts in the comments.